Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the In News series. My name is Pooja Dwivedi. Today we are going to talk about the budget allocation, which seems to be unsatisfactory when we talk about the opposition and other activists for MNREGA. The budget allocation for MNREGA is not satisfactory for them. What is the budget allocation? We have to know about the scheme of MNREGA and the issues, the debate and way forward that is related to it. From the perspective of GS Mains Papers 2nd and 3rd, these are the many topics that we are going to discuss. Starting with the news says Budget 2023 cuts MNREGS funds. The debate around the rural employment scheme. Specifically at this period, it is being talked about that during the COVID-19 induced lockdown, many laborers who used to work in labor incentive industries went back to their villages. They found a place in this scheme, the MNREGA scheme. And under that only, as a legal right, they availed 100 days of employment for themselves. But now, as the government has cut down the budget, it is being apparently seen that the government is not going to allocate much for MNREGA in the years to come. So that is what we are going to discuss. MNREGA, or the scheme of MNREGS, is one of the largest work guarantee program. Each and every person from one household should be guaranteed 100 days of employment in every financial years. Adult members of any rural household willing to do public work related unskilled manual work. Two things could be achieved from this. First, employment generation. Second, asset creation, specifically in rural India. And this works under the Ministry of Rural Development as then. Now, as of 2022-23, there are 15.4 crore active workers under MNREGA. It might change in the years to come. And the features of MNREGA include the legal right to work, as in this particular MNREGA scheme. It aimed at addressing the cause of chronic poverty. As the rural members, as the rural dwellers, we can say, they could not avail much benefit from urban type of employment. They could only rely on agriculture. So what was thought of that a scheme could be created in which when it comes to seasonal unemployment, because agriculture is a seasonal employing sector. So when that happens, people there could find work within their region. They do not need to go away from their families. So legal right to work was achieved. It aims at addressing the cause of chronic poverty, and it's a rights-based framework. That means every member of rural India has the right to be employed, and at least 1/3 of the beneficiaries should have to be women. If we have to talk about the wages, then the wages were based upon statutory minimum wages, which were specified for whom? Agriculture laborers in the state, according to the Minimum Wages Act of 1948. And what happens that if a person isn't able to find the work within the stipulated amount of time, it is legally backed guarantee for any rural adult to get work within 15 days of demanding it. If that does not happen, because demand-driven scheme it is, so if I as a rural dweller demand the work under MNREGA and I do not get it, then unemployment allowance must be given to me. Okay, moving on. The other important features include the decentralized planning of it, because here under this, the state is not given as much responsibility or duty as the Panchayati Raj institution is given. There is a significant role of it because this act mandates the Gram Sabhas to recommend the work that has to be undertaken, and at least 50% of the work must be executed by them. So this is kind of a decentralized planning. We can also call it a bottom to top approach, community participation as well. So the current budget allocates rupees 60,000 crore for the scheme, and it is lower than the budgetary estimate of rupees 70,000 crore for 2022-23. The reduction is sharper when we compare it with the revised estimate of rupees this much for the current fiscal year. Now in 2021-22, an actual expenditure of rupees 98,468 crore was incurred on the MNREGS, which showed that high employment could have been generated. Now, what did the economic survey say about MNREGA, this scheme? this economic survey has shed some light upon it, on the basis of which the budget allocation was done. See, this economic survey has said that there is an observance of a year-on-year decline in monthly demand for MNREGS. As this is a demand-driven scheme, not much people are demanding it. This could be due to many reasons. See, as according to the economic survey, the employment or the demand for employment under MNREGS, it is on the pre-pandemic level from July to November 2022. That means during the pandemic period, the demand was high because laborers went back to their villages. But now the laborers are moving back to the cities, and that is why demand for this work has moved back to pre-pandemic levels, and that is why budgetary allocation could have been diminished. Because of the strong agricultural growth right now and a swift recovery from COVID-induced lockdown, this has been observed. This could be the reason. These could be the reasons. In fiscal year 23, as on January 24, 2023, 6.49 crore households demanded employment under this, and 6.48 crore households were offered employment, out of which 5.7 crore availed the employment. Now, there are other issues which are related to this particular scheme. First, delay and insufficiency in fund dispersal. Most states, they have failed to disburse wages within the stipulated time. In addition, workers are not compensated for the delay. That means the basic premise has been denied. Caste-based segregation has also been observed because significant variation in delays by caste has been observed. While 46% of the payments to SCs and 37% for ST workers were completed in the 7-day period of time, the other castes couldn't get it. Okay, it was a mere 26% for the non-SC/ST workers. Other than that, the Panchayati Raj institutions, although are mandated to execute and implement the kind of work that is under MNREGS, but they do not have a lot of say when it comes to what kind of project should be taken. So on paper it is there, but practically it is not. Okay, there is also large number of incomplete work, unexecuted work. Also, there has been a trend where duplicate job cards, fraudulent job cards, name changing, everything has occurred. So that is also another issue. Moving ahead, the debate says that in the past, the government sources have pointed out that expenditure on MNREGS is need-based. Need now slip to demand. Need and demand. So what is the difference between two? Necessity is when you do not have any other work to do. Demand is when you want active participation in it, although the line is very thin. The budget allocation doesn't mean no more money can be spent on the rural employment scheme. This is what the government is saying right now, that it doesn't mean that every budget is going to do the same. It depends on the kind of demand that is generated. The Congress, the opposition, has asked if the MNREGS fund were being diverted to the centre's capital expenditure, which has been raised. Other than that, this situation is termed as problematic because now rural development schemes will not be in convergence with MNREGS. MNREGS demand will suddenly and dramatically come down. This is what the opposition is saying. And people will ask and they will not be provided work. This is another problem. So chronic poverty, they will be pushed back to chronic poverty. That's it. I will attach a question in the comment segment. You have to answer it. And I'll take the names of those who have answered it correctly in the upcoming segment. And thank you so much for watching.